So we've got a lot of news to cover today to help bring you guys up to date with what's going on with NBA 2K20. As you already know, this has been one of the wildest launches of all time. So many glitches and so many updates and major changes. So since before the game dropped, I felt like it was one of my responsibilities to keep you guys informed. Recently, Mike Wang posted on Reddit a badge feedback for balancing. He was looking for people to chime in and put their perspective and their thoughts on how the badges are working so they can make some new tweaks. And this makes sense because now that we've gotten past a lot of the glitch issues, most of the complaints are pertaining to badges. So needless to say, 2K has been buffing and nerfing badges like crazy. Mike Wang continues, and this is September 17th, 2 days ago. This morning's update includes fix for fewer missed open layups, a buff to Unblockable Badge, and a nerf to brick wall knockdowns. A lot of people were complaining about missing layups. I personally just thought that they needed the Acrobat badge along with Giant Slayer, and that would solve some of the problems. And also, most of the paint protectors this year have Intimidator. So unless you're a prominent slasher, it just felt like you weren't gonna make that many layups. Plus, I had a discussion with the 2K devs prior to 2K19's release, where I was saying that there's so many non-slashing archetypes like sharpshooters that can get contact layups, and I thought that they needed to tone that down. Felt like there's more arcs that need to stay in their lane. But nonetheless, the community always wins. I could be wrong about those badges fixing things, or maybe there's just some bad players that are wrong about the defenders they're going up against. Shout out to the 2K20 Insider. We got our first look at backpacks in 2K20. Apparently you can actually wear them on the court. I've never seen this in the park myself, but this is pretty cool. I like the style of that spray ground backpack. And I actually sent a spray ground backpack to the winner of my top 10 plays of the year. He's yet to send me a picture or send anything back. What's going on, man? Shout out to poor boy Sin rocking the backpack with no t-shirt on his skateboard. That's a good look, and it's another good reason for me to keep repping up in the park, the neighborhood, and the rec center, because I want to be able to take my shirt off with some new tattoos and wear a backpack as well. 2K is announcing their first ever NBA 2K Global Championship. The tournament will feature head-to-head competition in Play Now with a grand prize of $115,000. Gotta visit NBA2KGC.com for more details. I don't know how much of that money is gonna be taxed, but that's still a lot of dough. And for those of you gamers out there that are winning money in the gaming community, I always wonder what they're doing with that money. Like, are they gonna put it towards college? Are they gonna invest it into some properties? You don't know how long you're gonna be competing in these tournaments and playing video games for a living. Now back to some questions from the community. Hoodie AI says, does the Unblockable Badge even work? And Mike Wang says, it works, just not very strong. I'm testing some fixes. You know what's weird about that question? I played Park for the first time. That video footage is coming up real soon. I think we played like 24 games, and I only got ripped once. I spent a lot of time protecting the ball with the left trigger in most cases, and the only time I try to dribble on defenders is when I know I have enough space. But that could be because the players weren't as good at that time. I mean, it was still early within the game's release, but still, Unblockable wasn't something I felt like complaining about just yet. Mike Wang on the 2K Reddit says full whites are being addressed, which is kind of funny because full whites have been a problem with 2K for the longest. Full whites have felt like trash since 2K19, and it felt like if it wasn't a green release, it just wasn't going in. Another question from the community, they asked Mike Wang, the game is great overall. However, is there anything you could do about the lack of body contact in the paint? By far my biggest gripe. You can be bodying up a person, then they just slip by you unrealistically, able to disengage from the body contact in very unnatural ways. Mike Wang says, should be better with yesterday's patch. We'll continue to look for improvements. I know for a fact if you're big and the player gets positioned under the basket where he's like closer to the rim than you are, you feel kind of useless unless you're a shot blocker. But I'm seeing a whole lot of contact in the paint, especially as a playmaker who can slash to the rim. If there's a defender behind me that still makes contact with me before I jump, it'll change my animation. I'll go from a dunking animation to a layup animation. Zay Magic says, I was wondering how the fancy footwork badge exactly works. And Mike says you get more effective Euro, hop, cradle, spin, and half spin gathers. This should help you get to the rim more often and jam up less. Now I can attest to this because I don't use the fancy footwork badge at the moment, and whenever I try to do a Euro step, I'm definitely colliding with the defender And we have this long travel animation, which leads to usually me missing layup. I'll be trying this badge out myself, and I'm sure it's gonna help. As you guys know, for the first year ever, I had to update my ultimate dribbling tutorial because 2K and Mike Wang especially decided to change some controls post-launch. Mike Wang put out a tweet explaining the new controls. It was a bit frustrating for me because I felt like I put a lot of information out there and things change, and that's sort of been the going issue with 2K since launch, because those of us who went to Community Day saw and heard a lot of different things as opposed to what we got once the game released, especially listening to streams and reading tweets. There's just been a lot of changes to adhere to the community, been a lot of complaining, a lot of people upset about different controls, badges, all kinds of nerfs and buffs. Makes me wonder what this game's gonna be 3 months after its release. Jason Perez says, what's the point of tight handles? Mike Wang says tight handles can stun defenders during first steps coming out of size up combos. The more combos you pull off, the greater the stun chance. Freddie Lee asks, does the range extender badge work on corner threes too, since you said it works with long twos and threes? And then Mike says it won't cross over the line. If you have high mids but low threes, range extender won't help you hit threes, including corner threes. Mo says, thanks for the info, Mike. Does this same logic apply to all badges? If my mid is meh, does difficult shot give me a better chance of making pull-ups? And Mike says, yes, it will help, but it wouldn't make you great at pull-ups. Badges enhance your existing abilities. It won't make you great, but it's an overall yes. Got a question from TJ who says, should you equip both Pro Touch and Consistent Finisher? Any cons of equipping both? And Mike says, those are both great badges for slashers. There are no cons for having both. Another good question, guy says, Mike, so flexible release does not help with slightly early and slightly late releases? And Mike says there's a threshold. If you see a badge come up in the HUD, it's being activated. And he says, thanks for the reply, Mike. Does it also work for free throws? And Mike says, no, the only thing that affects free throws is ice in veins. That would be hilarious if flexible release worked for free throws. You could just totally mistime your free throw and it would still go in. Well, wait a minute, maybe that does work. And then finally, we got some responses from Zach Timmerman. Sage Cassidy says, please tell me there's a way to reset your hot zones for the rec. I messed up. I went directly there with no badges and played a bunch of games. And Zach says, unfortunately, there is not. It won't take you that long to correct them if you're shooting well. Now, I'm a little confused at that response because I would have thought he would have said that he could fix it in my career if he's shooting well. Is Zach saying you can fix your cold spots in the rec center by just simply shooting well? Are your hot zones blanketed over every mode, meaning you can fix them anywhere you play? Like, let's say I'm playing against a bad team at the park and I have wide open shots in my cold spot, I can fix it at the park? See, I don't think so. I think you can only fix your hot spots in my career mode, and I don't think 2K's done a good job of being very clear about hot zones over the years in general. Shout out to the 2K build guru. He says, could more information be provided on hot and cold zones in each mode? And Zach says, hot and cold zones are developed in each mode based on how well you shoot. It's a running window, meaning we only look at your last X number of shots games, which differs mode to mode. There's still not enough clarity there. I guess I'm forever under the impression that the only place to fix your hot zones or your cold spots is in my career mode. These responses got me thinking that I can fix my cold spots in any mode. If this is really true, you might not have to play my career mode at all for the rest of the year, unless you just don't have anybody to run with. So anyways, guys, did my best to get you guys up to date with some of the responses from the 2K development team. Let me know if some of this information helped you out in the comment section below. Always remember to smack that like button and subscribe, turn on notifications for more, and I'll see you in the next one.